money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
Back Nine Golf in South Lincoln is the premier indoor golf experience in the state. The weather in the winter months is cold, windy, and as unpredictable as a tee shot on the 450-yard par 4. With top-of-the-line full-swing simulators and a PGA TG professional, Back Nine Golf is there to help you improve your game and lower your score. Back Nine Golf is open to the public with 24/7 access for members. Learn about Back Nine's variety of memberships today and see the facility for yourself at 7501 South 15th Street in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Back Nine Golf, your premier indoor golf and events destination.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine. Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket immediately after every Nebraska men's basketball game for 1 hour of post-game recap. The Nebraska Basketball Postgame Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, and the Lincoln Airport on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Bagels & Joe is the best place to start off your mornings, and you can order your breakfast ahead of time on their app. You can't go wrong with one of their great bagel sandwiches or breakfast burritos. Stop by any of their 4 locations in Lincoln and their location in Seward. Bagels & Joe.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
You're listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. Real stories, powerful insights, and weekly inspiration to help you rise above life's challenges. Let's lift off with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wow, it is Sunday in Lincoln, Nebraska, and, just like any Nebraska Sunday, the weather is something that we should talk about, and so it's extremely cold outside right now. And, I have a guy on my show today who doesn't have any hair on his head. I have a little bit of hair on my head right now. This gentleman does not have any hair on his head. So I figure he's probably really feeling the chill, but yet still he's super cool. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Jason Ball. Jason, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic, Dr. Chatters. Thanks for having me here today. I've been looking forward to this.
Man, it's so awesome to have you on the show. We're switching up our format just a little bit today because you are a veteran at this radio and interview thing. And I've seen some stuff and I know you just have a lot to give. And so we're going to talk back and forth a little bit. We'll also get into your story, but you're the guy who oversees the Lincoln Chamber. Is that right?
I'm the guy that gets the great pleasure of being the mouthpiece for the business community in Lincoln. And it's a big responsibility, but it is fun work too.
That's awesome. So the mouthpiece for this community and the business community, more specifically, really helping businesses find a reason to come to Lincoln and stay in Lincoln. And it's a great place to be. I spent about 16 years of my life here in Lincoln and just absolutely love it. And, my wife and I are really thinking hard about moving back. We live in Omaha. We live in West Omaha. And so we've been thinking a lot about moving back to Lincoln. And one of the things that happened this past week, we took our youngest daughter out to San Diego. Okay. So you kind of know where I'm going with this. We go out to San Diego. It's beautiful out there. The weather is amazing. And there's an ocean and there's water and it's just so beautiful, beaches and everything else. And then we get, in this mindset, when you're on kind of out on business, wherever you go, you kind of start thinking about going back home. And so I always think of it this way. You wake up in one state, maybe you go to sleep in another state. So we wake up in California, we walk outside, it's like 60 degrees. And we're right there staying. First of all, we stayed in Coronado. Beautiful, beautiful place. Yep. And then we went to stay in downtown San Diego. And I am like an absolute airplane nerd. And so we stayed directly across from the USS Midway. Yep. It sits right there, right? And it's just this cool museum. But the weather was beautiful. And so I started thinking about waking up in Cali and going to sleep in Nebraska last night because we traveled yesterday. And I look at my phone and it's like 3 degrees in Nebraska, right? So okay. So long way to say to you, what is the business case? How do you tell these places, which the places in the South right now are experiencing their own cold, right? Yeah. How do you tell them, hey, come to Lincoln even though it's cold? Like, what's the argument there?
So look, thankfully, the number one item on a business's profile that they're putting together is not what the weather's like.
That's a good
right?
point. Yeah.
The businesses are going to look at everything that impact the P&L and balance sheet first.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And so we do really, really well there. Now, I'm not going to say that things like weather or other amenities like, we talk a lot about parks and libraries right now,
yes.
Things to do, entertainment district. Like, I'm not going to say that those types of things don't matter.
Yeah.
But they don't lead that conversation.
That makes sense.
And so that's really what we have going for us in the Midwest, not just in Lincoln, is businesses are looking at where can they derive the most competitive advantage. And thankfully, when it comes to things like proven worker productivity over time, we rate super high. So we've got a great story to tell for the things that businesses are thinking about.
Gotcha.
And then on the back end, it becomes, well, how many people can move here and deal with this weather that we got to navigate sometimes? I'm one of these weird people. I like seasons.
Yes.
I love going out and running as much as I can
Nice.
year round.
Nice.
Even on days like this, try to get out, do it
Okay.
safely.
Yeah.
Got to have the right gear on.
That's right.
But there's a lot to enjoy about cold weather months too.
Oh my gosh, you just said so much there that I just absolutely love. First of all, I like to run too.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy running in weather that's probably more like 40 degrees, I mean, this is like super cold, and I'm always afraid of, when you get to a certain age, you kind of start worrying about falling a little bit and not being able to do what you do and love. So you talked about that. The other pieces, and this is where I think, here's the deal. I appreciate the weather of Nebraska, and I do think that I love the seasons too, especially like there's nothing like fall in Nebraska. I think fall in Nebraska is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Sure. Certainly the people in the Northeast would, complain and say, well, there's not enough, trees and such. But the other thing is just for a lot of businesses, when they move to a place, they're going to source a lot of their jobs locally, right? So they don't have to necessarily worry too much about moving too many people in. So it's not like they're moving everybody in and everybody's going to be upset with how cold it is, right?
Yeah.
That's one piece. The other piece is just that from that P&L perspective, the cost of living here is amazing, right? And I'll just tell you, so as I first got out to San Diego the first day, and then I sent a very funny text to my wife with a picture of a house. It was 729 square feet, and it was only $1.6 million.
Yeah. Buy two at that price.
So I sent that to her. I said, I guess we won't be buying a house in San Diego. And so, that's the other thing too, right? Is that it's so affordable here in Nebraska when it comes to the cost of living. And, you talk about the parks and libraries side of things, and just the opportunity to have a little bit of space, some land, and not be on top of each other as far as the housing situation is concerned.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those things that are really amazing. And so I have to make this case time and time again to people that Nebraska is a wonderful, beautiful place to live. I've, been here, even though I only lived in Lincoln for 16 years, I actually have been in Nebraska for a total of 30 years.
Yeah.
So, it's just kind of one of those things that and every time I come back to Nebraska, I'm honestly excited about getting back here because of how much I know this place, because of how kind people are here, because I've really been able to, grow here in Nebraska.
Yeah.
And I think that it's just a wonderful place. So I just, being in San Diego, and here's the thing, and you have kids too, right? You have two kids, is that right?
Yep.
So when they get to that point where they want to go off to college and really go adventure, and they want to go somewhere warm, and you're trying, there's also that piece of, gosh, you don't want them to go too far, so we're trying to go through that too, right? So that was kind of the whole deal this past week, was trying to convince my daughter, well, Nebraska is better than San Diego, even though the weather's really beautiful here and we're going to go back and freeze in the car, on our way home. But there's still some other intangibles that are, better than the beach, I guess. I mean, how do you beat the beach, Jason? How do you beat the beach?
Look, I don't compete with the beach.
Okay, all right.
Look, if a beach is a decision-making factor for anybody,
right.
My parents have some beachfront property in Sydney, Nebraska.
There
love
you
to
go.
Sell you, but,
exactly.
That's going to be, that's the type of thing where we got to be authentic to who we are. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We're not going to be a perfect fit for what every single person is looking for. I think we can be a great fit for anybody.
Yeah.
But it's all about those individual choices and what's most important. And quite frankly, I think that's also part of why, the folks that are in Nebraska, the folks that are in Lincoln, tend to be people that want to be involved in shaping their community. They tend to be people that are high performers at work, and folks that are looking for other things. Not that they're bad people, but their attentions might be elsewhere too.
That's right.
And that's part of the stuff it's impossible to quantify. I can never put that on a brochure and say, here's why you're going to succeed as a business in Lincoln as opposed to anywhere else you could go.
Right.
But it matters.
It does.
We all know it actually tangibly matters to the bottom line at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So that's great. So since you are a walking wealth of good arguments for why Nebraska, why Lincoln, I'm going to throw some other questions at you here, just specifically about that. Then we'll get into it because you're on fire right now.
Hit me with it.
Yeah.
Hit me with it.
Okay. So the Indiana Hoosiers, ladies and gentlemen, are the national championships in not basketball, but football. Okay.
Yep.
They are the national champions in football. A perfect 16-0 season. Unreasonably crazy that they were able to accomplish that. Like anyone will tell you, regardless of what your thoughts are about, teamwork, all the rest of the stuff. That's just darn near impossible to be perfect, right?
Yeah.
Like that. Can you give us an example of how that type of teamwork, camaraderie, and just the magic of what's happened in that space this year for them? How is that something that you could see from a city perspective or a chamber perspective, as far as all the businesses working together, supporting each other, having a culture of support and, and championship caliber work ethic, all the rest of the stuff that we saw unfold on that team this year? What does that look like when it comes to like a chamber and a city and stuff like that? And just how does that work in a space like that? What does a championship caliber city look like?
So, well, I'll start if I can by talking about our own team.
Excellent.
And the reason why I jump in there is we've had to be very intentional about that, Dr. Chatters. So for folks that don't know, and I won't give the full rundown, but when we say the chamber, when I'm talking about the Chamber of Commerce in Lincoln, and not every chamber is organized this way, which makes it confusing for other folks that have seen chambers in other places, but we're really three organizations. We are a Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
We are the Visit Lincoln program through a partnership with Lancaster County.
Okay.
And then through a partnership with the City of Lincoln, we are the Lincoln Partnership for Economic Development. All three of those entities and divisions function under one umbrella in the chamber. And so we're responsible for a lot of the work that's going to move this community forward on the back end and organize this community to compete.
Okay.
Right. And so we love having that kind of team together. We're 26 people at full tilt. I feel so fortunate to come to work with the individuals that I do every single day. They are amazing, but we have had to be very intentional because we've got, on a team as small as 26, you wouldn't think it's a challenge. It is, because everyone on that team is paid in a different combination of buckets of money. Every person on that team is really focused on either drawing more visitors here, or what kind of job creation, or what kind of workforce recruitment, or how are we doing at the advocacy at the legislature and at the city and county. Like, those are very divergent missions.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell people we're like the Platte River, right? We're a mile wide and an inch deep. We're not complicated, but we're very broad in our missions. And so we've had to be really intentional about how we force our team to buy into each other's success. Now you're talking about that on a bigger platform. What does that mean for communities? Look, I will tell you, every business community that I've worked with, you land in town and they'll say, well, our secret sauce is how well we work together as a business community. Every city says that. Some cities live up to it better than others.
Gotcha.
And sometimes the ones that aren't living that out might surprise you because they're still seeing economic success, but they are not operating in a collaborative environment. I'm really proud in Lincoln that we do live up to that billboard. I think this business community, highly interconnected. They talk to each other. They're bought into the community's success.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they've got their own bottom lines and businesses to run and teams to make successful, and they're not going to sacrifice on those, nor should they.
Yeah.
But we have a generous business community. They are leaders when it comes to doing big things, like Pinnacle Bank Arena, like the Innovation Campus, like the library that's coming, like the South Haymarket Park. Like, businesses in Lincoln make things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's happened over time. It's taken, I think, from previous people, not myself, maybe from time to time, some arm twisting.
Yeah.
We got a generation of new business leaders and some of these family-owned businesses and multi-generational businesses that are stepping into those leadership roles now.
Mm-hmm.
That's been exciting to see. It's been fun to work with those men and women a little bit more over time. And so we've got an evolution that's happening. That's okay. That happens in every city too. But look, Lincoln scores well there. If you get to a community that's maybe a little bit bigger than Lincoln, that's where you start to have that element of insiders and outsiders.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
And, even other cities in the region, from folks who have moved here from those other places will say, well, look, I wasn't able to get into person X, Y, and Z until I went through people A, B, and C first.
Yes.
In Lincoln, one of the things I'm proudest about is we're big enough to have the amenities that people want, but as a interconnective place, we're very flat.
Yep. Yeah.
You're one or two phone calls away from the most influential people in town. And I think that has made those people more passionate about shaping the community, it's a great place for new people in Lincoln to come and get connected to.
Yeah, that's a great explanation of what it looks like for people to actually work together and to succeed together, right? And to offer people access to leadership, access to opportunity. Those are all markers of a championship caliber space, right? Is that people feel like what they do matters. And if they have a challenge, they can speak with somebody and figure out how to get past that challenge. People band together and support people whenever they're struggling, right? All of those things are really markers of a championship caliber team. And, we talk a lot about this concept of culture. I would say that is the culture of the Lincoln business community, is that when you step into this space, you have access. When you step into this space, you can gather information about resources that are going to help your business and help you move forward in all of those different types of things. And those are markers of a successful team as well. It's that, when you're new to it, you're not new for long, because people band around you and they say, okay, let's get you kind of, incorporated into how we do things here. And that way it helps you be successful, but that also helps us to be successful. That's awesome to see. So, speaking of championship caliber teams as well, Nebraska men's basketball right now is what, 20-0, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Who saw that coming? Indiana wins football, Nebraska basketball is
That's
winning.
right. That's right. We just kind of flipped the script there a little bit. And Husker football's coming, right? We're on the way.
Yes.
We're on the way there.
Absolutely.
It's going to happen.
Every season.
That's right.
That's how I start out on day one.
Everybody does. I mean, if you don't think the Husker football team's going to win a championship day one, you're not a Nebraska
That's
fan,
right.
right?
That's right.
Hope is the strategy. But when it comes to just this concept of what's happening on that team right now, and you just see how they're playing and how some people have gone down with some significant injuries and everything else, and new people have had to step up, right? Like, I mean, that's just, it really is very metaphorical to life in so many ways, that to be successful, you have to be supportive of each other, right? You have to figure it out. And if things aren't working, you change, right? You adapt and you stick to your script, but at the same time, you're adaptable enough that you can make some shifts and change things so that you're moving in the right direction. And so, that's just, it's just neat to see, both of those situations and how those things align with life in general, right? Just this idea of being supportive of each other, having a good positive culture, fighting, together and winning together. It's always a beautiful thing. So now we've kind of talked a little bit about those things. We're going to kind of jump back to your life, and I'm going to kind of start to ask you some questions directly about that. And so, first question that I normally ask people is where your name came from. So tell us, where does the name Jason come from?
Oh my goodness.
And why are you named Jason? Where did that come from? Do you have, why?
Boy, I didn't see this one coming. So Jason, its etymology is a Greek name. So Jason and the Argonauts.
Okay.
And people that know more about that stuff may say, "Oh, you missed the boat on a couple other cultures." So I apologize to the cultures I've just missed by attributing it only to the Greeks. You know what? I don't know where Jason came from as a name. It's not necessarily a family name. In our family, on both for our boys and girls, it's initials. So my middle name is Mitchell.
Okay.
My father's middle name is Mitchell. My son's middle name is Mitchell.
So you've carried down the middle name there. Okay.
And then mom and dad wanted the same initials of JMB for myself and my dad. And so that's how we came to that. I'm embarrassed to admit, I do not know why Jason as opposed to Jonas or Joshua or
what is your dad's
Jeremy.
name?
Jordan. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So the JMB.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Mitchell name has been handed down through the generation.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And so, talk to us a little bit about what it's like to grow up in small town Nebraska, right?
Yeah.
Small town, but not the smallest town, but small town Nebraska.
Small enough. I'd say. So I grew up in Sidney, Nebraska. Father was an attorney there, did law work for the city for most of his career. And then mother was a first grade teacher.
Wow.
And I always lead with this. I didn't appreciate it when I was there.
Yeah.
Sidney felt too small. I was looking for different type of sport options or, entertainment options or clubs to do in school. And those were just not the things that I felt like Sidney had at the time, but it was all the stuff that I wasn't thinking about and didn't notice that was just so great.
Yeah.
When you grow up in Sidney, and I start a lot of my speeches about economic development out with this, growing up in Sydney, you grew up in the shadow of Cabela's as a company.
Okay.
And the youngest sons of Dick Cabela were just getting out of high school about the time I was rolling into junior high.
Okay.
And so I was not a peer, did not know them, did not hang out with them, but knew of them.
Mhm.
And so Cabela's was so present in that community. It kept that community moving economically for so long. And so the biggest lesson I took away from Sydney is, what do jobs and economic activity mean to a community?
Yeah.
Because in a town of a population of 6,000, Cabela's at the time employed 2,000 people right there.
Wow.
And so when you think about the, stuff going on like within Lexington,
Tyson, yeah.
Those are spooky days.
Absolutely.
For them. And even with the transition of Cabela's and the Bass Pro deal
Yes.
in Sydney, those are spooky things too. And so growing up in Sydney really opened my eyes to what economic development meant without knowing the term economic development at all.
I see.
It's all by osmosis. I mean, and then there's the other thing, cars are parked and left unlocked all night.
Yep.
I rode my bike everywhere in town as something like, I don't know, a 12-year-old, there was just a lifestyle growing up in a small community that gave you access to some different types of freedoms that maybe in larger communities where different kinds of safety considerations are a real thing.
Right.
That you just wouldn't be able to do. And so for all the things I wish I had, as a kid,
yep.
There are the things I didn't know I would miss until I got to live in other places and became a parent myself.
Yeah.
And I look back now and I feel really fortunate to have grown up in rural Nebraska in a place like Sydney.
That's amazing. And so, when I think about just some of those things that you've talked about, the importance of community, the importance of understanding just how much a company or even an organization, like in some of these smaller college towns, how much that university means to that community from an economic perspective, that so many people are connected to it. And you seeing that from an early age, that's really great that now you are able to help bring companies to Lincoln in this community that can do similar things, right? That can give people's families an opportunity to be here and everything else. So, when you think back on your youth, what were some of the things that were really, those messages that you received from being in that small community about what your possibilities were when it came to like careers? Of course, your dad being an attorney, and that's a very structured space where he's got the things he's got going on. Your mom working in the school system, and so you see her and that experience of potentially having her more available during the summer because she's a teacher and different things. So, like, what was it like for you from that vocational perspective? What were some things that you saw early on that were possibilities for a job for you?
Oh gosh. Well, so I was your prototypical 13-year-old growing up in small town Nebraska. I remember at that age, I looked my dad dead in the face when he said, "Jason, what do you want to do career-wise? Because you're not going to be here forever." And I said, "Dad, I'm going to play pro football." And I was serious as a heart attack.
Right.
And Dad, to his credit, he didn't laugh at me. He said, "Well, let's have a backup plan too. That's great. Go play football, take that seriously." And I always feel grateful for Dad, saying, "Let's think about some other alternatives," and then you get choices, right? And that was enough for me to buy into that. Look, there's two things I'll point out, and one was I had a science teacher named Pete Hay, a biology teacher, and he was one of the first people that helped me get my act together because I was not a good student. I'm still not a natural student. I really have to be disciplined and like just put more time in. He was one of the first people that said, "You can do better, but you got to put the time in. You can do better, but you got to put the time in." And by the time I was a senior in one of his classes, I remember we had a substitute teacher, and he said, the substitute is coming in class to make sure that y'all don't burn the place down. Jason, I'm holding you responsible for making sure everybody's got these check in the box like items completed. And I remember feeling really proud about that he saw me in that way. The other thing is, you got a 13-year-old kid that starts out wanting to play football and do nothing else but sports.
Right.
And by the time I got to be a senior, I was really looking for different than something that sports could offer.
Yeah.
And I was hanging out with some friends that were liking to play hacky sack. During the breaks and at lunchtime or whatever. And a couple of them were on the speech team, and they're like, boy, there's, these girls were meeting for speech team. And I said, meeting girls.
Hey, I'm in.
Say no more. And ended up joining the speech team. And I remember that coach was like, what are you doing here? Like, I'm a senior, right? I got a foot out the door.
Right.
Ended up doing entertainment speaking, ended up going to state that year.
Oh, wow.
Wrote a speech about having red hair, which you can't tell now. But it was all about having red hair. And that's, one of the things that I have to do all the time now is just speak to audiences, try to reach across, the aisle or outside of the podium or across a microphone to different audiences. And I won't say that I'm good at it necessarily, but I feel like I'm confident in those settings.
I would definitely say you're comfortable there. And so far, it's been great to hear from you. We'll have more from Jason Ball when we get back. You're listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket.
Winter is just around the corner. Is your vehicle ready? Don't get left out in the cold. At A1 Automotive, we prep your car for whatever winter throws your way here in Nebraska. For battery checks, to brake inspections, tires, heaters, whatever your car needs to keep you and your family safe on the road, we've got you covered. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes. Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sartor Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sartorheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
It's basketball season, and Salt Mine City is your pregame and postgame headquarters in the Haymarket for craft beers and great food. Get ready for the game with their big, fatty 7-ounce hamburger or try a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. And don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, your basketball headquarters, now open at 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 11 a.m. Friday through Sunday at 8th and R.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
If one of the things running through your mind as a business owner is the recurring worry of possible cyber attacks, you can let out a sigh of relief. Hamilton Business Technologies has you covered. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we offer real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and more to keep your data safe from harm. We care about the success of Nebraska businesses and communities like yours. Learn how we can help you at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
Now back to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right, Lincoln, Nebraska. We're back. You're listening to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters, and I have Jason Ball on the show with me today. And truthfully, man, this has just been a great conversation so far. This guy's like a seasoned interviewer. I mean, you're just like throwing him at me on this. Man, I love it. I love it. I love the energy. I love the just the fact that you can sell Lincoln in such a positive way, and you have a lot of context there as well. And we'll talk a little bit more as we get further along in the show into some other communities that Jason's lived in, because he's moved around a decent amount in his life. And so, but right now we're in Sidney, Nebraska, Western Nebraska, for my listeners, if you didn't know, very close to the Colorado border. Is that right?
Yeah.
And so did you grow up a Broncos fan?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is back in the days of John Elway.
Oh my goodness. I just watched his document. Have you seen his documentary?
No, I haven't.
Man, you got to watch his documentary. It's really good. It's really good. His story, you know. So anyways, I don't want to upset anybody that's not a Broncos fan if you're a Patriots fan, right? Like, I don't even know what's going on. I'm not that big of a football fan, but anyway, so you grew up a Broncos fan. You're close to Colorado. And what else was going on in high school at Sidney High? You know, like, tell us a little bit more. You'd kind of gotten into some speech and debate and different things that excelled in that area. And here's an important question too, because I want to connect the dots here. Did you meet any of the girls in the speech club?
Oh man, I got a long story which I'll truncate, but I went to my first meet.
Yes.
And I was there to play hacky sack and like meet girls. I wasn't taking the speech part of the speech
very seriously,
terribly seriously, okay. but I was kind of nervous, and I want to get in my element. And I mentioned, before, I got to spend the time.
Yes.
So I went to my first ever speech in competition setting. I found the room early. I wanted to get in there, make sure my visual aids are set up all right. And lo and behold, a very attractive young woman comes in, sits down, and then I didn't care about my speech, and I tried to chat her up. That ended up being a college woman who was there to judge my first round.
Oh my gosh.
Competition ever.
Not the right person.
Yeah. So I'm glad I didn't use a cheesy pickup line. I had then and never did develop any sort of game whatsoever. So she was never in danger at all. But look, that's the thing I loved about Sidney. It's the thing I loved about coming to Lincoln.
Yes.
It allows you to change course. Right. And not for bad reasons. It's I was in a long process, I think longer than a lot of young men, of kind of figuring out who I was and the things that were important to me, the things that interested me, and the things that I could do well. And so that was probably the best thing about growing up in Sidney. It was a place where you could kind of redirect. And the cost for that, the outcomes of that were just not as bad as
that's great.
In other places.
That is a great point, and I love that concept, because you all, when you think about the price that some people have to pay to change what they're doing and do something different, or what options that are in front of them. One of the things that's pretty well known is that in smaller communities, especially like when it comes to athletics, you get to try a little bit of everything. If you wanted to try track, okay, great, but maybe basketball, they need you on the basketball team, they might need you on the baseball team, they might need you on the wrestling team, they might need you in the show choir too, right? They might need you in theater, right? So there's all these different opportunities, and the price of shifting and changing and doing some of those things is not nearly as high or as critical as it could be in some other places. And I think when young people get the opportunity to really experiment, and this is the research will show you this, that young people that play multiple sports are some of the best athletes later in their athletic journey. You don't just have them focus on one thing, you have them do a little bit of everything. And then, you also talked earlier about one of your mentors, Mr. Hayes, and you talked about how he inspired you in the scientific area and how important it was for you to have another person in your life, particularly, we're going to go down this path a little bit, a man in your life who saw something in you, who really encouraged you to believe in yourself, right? So talk to us a little bit more about that journey for you and why you believe that type of mentorship is very much needed in this day and age. We both have kids. You have a son and a daughter. And so talk to us a little bit about how much mentorship meant to you back then, how it inspired you, and why you think it's so important now.
Well, look, I look back and feel so lucky, like legit lucky, random chances of life, right? I could have had a life that didn't end up bumping into several people along the way that have been great influences, and having a very involved dad, very involved parents. So I got to own that. I had a very fortunate background when it came to that. Problem with me is, for all those advantages, I was just kind of frittering around quite a bit, and it took someone of authority who felt like I wasn't living up to my potential to go, you got to do better.
I see.
I'm Jason. I see it in you, but you got to do better. You got to put in the time. And always felt lucky that was kind of my first moment of that. And some people get that from a lot of different directions in life. We hear people talk about those analogies in sports and that straighten them out. Military's been another great help for people to kind of get motivated in a direction that's going to be productive in their lives. And, for me, it kind of came maybe earlier than others in the academic setting. And I've always felt very fortunate about that, I feel comfortable being stretched academically. And, look back at people like Pete Hay. John Steinbach was another teacher that I had, who said, you can do better. And that I credit them with getting my head on straight just enough to survive my freshman year and then really hit a comfort zone in college.
That's amazing. And it's just great to hear those stories about people who see something in us that we can't necessarily see in ourselves. And then we start to believe, and then we start to do. And then all of a sudden we produce something that's special, and we realize, wait a minute, I can do this. Right. And I have the capability to do this. And I think for a lot of young people too, who are struggling, just trying to find themselves, figure out what it is that they're good at, having a person in their life that can really encourage them and say, you're capable of this, right? Like, you have so much potential. Just take a little bit more time, put a little more effort into this thing, and you'll see that you can be good at it. I think those are wonderful messages to get from people who are not our parents, right? Because I think as parents, we always try to encourage our young people, right? Our kids, we're like, hey, you're the best. You can do this. You're capable, But when you hear that from somebody else that sees something in you, it just does something for you that's really special.
I think it changes the conversation when you're getting that from someone who isn't also responsible for saying, clean your room.
That's right.
Right.
Yes.
It really
That's
does.
right. That's
My parents have had several hard conversations with me as a kid. And again, I thank them for that now. But as a 13-year-old, I was like, whatever, you're being mom and dad.
Right.
When it comes from someone else outside of that circle, it really starts to matter. And as a parent of a young son now, I think about that a lot of what extracurricular activities or teachers or specific programs within the LPS system do we want to make sure that he's exposed to? So he's bumping into those opportunities to find his comfort zone, his places of confidence.
Yes.
The places that are going to stretch him and get him motivated to try new things on his own. And we'll get there with him. He'll get there in his own time. I got to step away from being the type A dad that's like, let's get your life figured out at 13.
That's right.
Dad, chill out. I'm just 13.
Yes.
And
it's
he's
joyful
right
to be
about
a child,
that.
right?
Yeah.
It is. It is.
So it's, that's a balancing act, but those are the things that I think about as a parent. I think a lot of parents do.
Yeah, I agree. And, it's just so tough to, I guess I don't really know how to articulate it besides saying that it's tough to know what the world holds before a person can see it and describe it and really impart to them the importance of it in a way that makes sense until they experience it, and that's the same way we were, right? Like we were hearing all these wonderful messages about how we needed to do this and this and this. And I always tell my daughters, I can't recall my mom and my dad ever really telling me the wrong thing to do. They knew what the right thing to do was because they had experienced life. But however, I didn't get to that until I kind of went down the wrong path. And then I realized, oh, you know what? I guess they were right, And I try to tell my daughters the same thing is that, I'm never going to tell you the wrong thing to do. I'm always going to try to encourage you to do the right thing. But sometimes I don't mind you taking your own path, right?
Yeah.
To get to where you started, which was kind of what I told you, right? Like that's okay because learning is living, right?
Yeah.
And so, but it's so amazing to hear you talk about, Mr. Steinbach and Mr. Hay and how they made an impact on your life and you can still remember them to this day. And I always try to tell people like, you never know as a person who is a leader, someone who can really encourage somebody how much of an impact you're going to have on that person's life. But their memory still lives within your mind because it helped compel you to be a better person. That's awesome.
Yeah. Look, it's like a lot of things in life. It sneaks up on you.
Yes.
Right. I think there's any number of experiences I've had where, they're impacting how I go about things and do things.
Wow.
Now.
Yeah.
That even at the time I was just like, let's learn this. Let's get it out of the way. I got to get to the next thing.
Yeah.
But you never know when it's going to sneak up and bite you 5, 10, 15 years down the road. And as far as, guiding our kids, I keep thinking about a quote that I'm fond of, which is wisdom comes from experience.
Yes.
But experience comes from bad judgment. So sometimes you just got to learn it the hard way.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And those lessons learned and earned the hard way are the most poignant, and so, you finish up high school and you make a decision to take the trek east across the wonderful state and you end up in Lincoln, Nebraska at Wesleyan University, right?
Yeah.
Why Wesleyan and what was that experience like for you to leave Sydney and come out here to the eastern part of the state? I mean, it was a different time. This would have been 96. And so, it's just a different time and being far from home, I'm sure you had to call back home long distance, I would imagine.
Yep.
And so there's some unique challenges there, being away from home, being far from home. What was that all like for you?
Oh, I was the kid who was ready to go.
Okay.
And it was healthy for me and my parents for me to go. It was time. So
you were both. It was an amicable separation.
Yeah. Look, it was one of those. I mentioned wisdom comes from experience from bad judgment. I had plenty of bad judgment.
Gotcha.
In bucketfuls at 18, but no, I just needed to get out and spread my own wings. So the idea of getting away to the point I was the better part of a whole day's drive.
Yeah.
Was very appealing to me. I was that kid just like,
okay.
I'm out of here. I don't.
Okay.
And it didn't come without some difficulties down the road a little bit.
Yeah.
But I really needed to have that space, and I think it was a healthy distance for me to go. Look, why Wesleyan? Why Lincoln? It was really, I wanted to get to Lincoln. Growing up in a small town, it's so funny. Wesleyan for me was a big campus.
Gotcha.
And I chuckled at that when I moved back here in 2022. I buzzed over to campus because I want to see what it's like. And after being in all these other places and other university systems, I came back and went, wow, it's so small.
Yeah.
But it was a great landing place for me.
Yeah.
I think I would have floundered at the university. University's great. I went there to get a grad degree. I'm very fortunate to to do the work and have the university system in town. It just would not have been a fit for me. And then the reason Wesleyan was really on my map is that was my mom's alma mater. So she went to Wesleyan. That's where she got her teaching degree at.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
awesome.
that's kind of how it became part of my universe of potential things to think about and look at. And then I found that found a 3-2 program that they do through their physics department, where you can get in physics or an engineering degree, I think, in partnership with St. Louis University and Columbia University, and great programs that they have there. I'm rambling.
No,
Fantastic
you're good. You're
experience.
good.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we'll hear more when we come back. You're listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. I have Jason Ball in here with me today. We'll have more when we come back on 93.7 The Ticket.
Want to make the easy call? Call John Henry's. From leaky pipes to a broken AC, flickering lights to furnace fights, even drains and duct cleaning, we've got it handled. Plumbing, heating, air, and electrical, all under one trusted roof. Proudly serving homes across Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas, and ready 24/7. Visit calljh.com or call John Henry's.
45 55 55. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, take the worm, put it on the hook. Now bring your pole back and throw it forward. And just let the fish come to you.
I got a bite! It's a big one, Dad!
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page, and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
Back Nine Golf in South Lincoln is the premier indoor golf experience in the state. The weather in the winter months is cold, windy, and as unpredictable as a tee shot on the 450-yard par 4. With top-of-the-line full-swing simulators and a PGA teaching professional, Back Nine Golf is there to help you improve your game and lower your score. Back Nine Golf is open to the public with 24/7 access for members. Learn about Back Nine's variety of memberships today and see the facility for yourself at 7501 South 15th Street in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Back Nine Golf, your premier indoor golf and events destination.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine. Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket immediately after every Nebraska men's basketball game for 1 hour of post-game recap. The Nebraska Basketball Postgame Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, and the Lincoln Airport on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Bagels and Joe is the best place to start off your mornings, and you can order your breakfast ahead of time on their app. You can't go wrong with one of their great bagel sandwiches or breakfast burritos. Stop by any of their 4 locations in Lincoln and their location in Seward. Bagels and Joe.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Now back to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. We're back. You're listening to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. I have Jason Ball on with me today. And man, it's so cool to hear his story so far, from Sydney coming out to Lincoln to go to Wesleyan and majoring in physics to start, right?
Physics to start, chemistry in effect. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, you know, you talked earlier about having a mentor in your life who really got you more interested in science, and it seemed like something that you wanted to pursue. So you go to Wesleyan, your mom's alma mater, which is super cool to hear about that as well.
Yeah.
Small campus, but big campus at the time for you, coming from Sydney,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit more about your time at Wesleyan and just what that was like for you, and how that kind of set you up for success in life.
It was great. I bumped into 2 more mentors that mean the world to me, that impacted me so much.
Yeah.
Both through my fraternity experience.
Okay.
Got involved in that, was involved in fraternity leadership for a couple of years. And so those types of things meant so much to me at Wesleyan, in addition to the academic side. Academics was actually kind of tough. As much as I felt like I had a comfort level, it's kind of hard. Physics can be a bit of a humbling experience once you leave a traditional motion and and you get into things like differential equations, and you get into thermodynamics and other things. And so I had to find a different route through the sciences, and I'm very glad I did that. Denise George was my department chair. PhD from Birmingham, England. And so she really enriched my experience there. I could go on and on. I bumped into the greatest people that have meant so much, people that continued to buoy me as I took some stumbles and bumps in the road as I kind of got my start and made it through. Had a great experience at Wesleyan. It was perfect for me.
That's amazing. You used a term there. You said you bumped into some great people. And I think that's an awesome terminology for it, because when I think about the way that we live our lives and how, there's these people who honestly stand as rocks in the stream that so many people go around in the course of their journeys, whether it be a teacher, professor, and just year after year, there's new people coming in, right? And there's more students that they have to inspire. And every now and then, you might stop right there for a minute and then you continue on your journey because you're going to go on to other classes potentially. But it's interesting how these people can have such an impact on our life. And you've talked about a number of those people so far. And it's something that's really been consistent as I've done a lot of the work and listening to people during this show is just how much of an influence those people that and I love the way you say bumped into. That is such a cool concept. Like it was an accident. It was kind of by happenstance that you end up in this particular program and this particular person who seemed to see something in you. You and them ended up in the same place and they can inspire you to continue going on and do it in a way that it really was so meaningful that you stayed in that major, right? Because it's just interesting. Sometimes we make decisions in life because we've had a really positive experience or even a negative experience, right?
Yeah.
And you talked about the quote that you mentioned about, kind of bad decisions and different things that can change things in your life. And so it's awesome that you had such a great experience there. What would you say it was that set you up for success later in life at Wesleyan? And as you left, I mean, you were in a fraternity, which that's always a great leadership opportunity. It sounds like you were leadership your junior and senior year or sometime around there.
Yeah.
What were some of the other things that really set you up for success?
Well, look, the thing that I took away from Wesleyan in retrospect, I didn't think about it this way then, but is flexibility. There's so much in life that is, no matter whether you're meeting success or you're meeting challenges or failures, it's never going to work out like it's planned.
Yeah.
And so the thing that I took away from Wesleyan is just being able to be flexible, reinvent myself a few times.
Yeah.
I really do envy for folks that haven't had that experience. Like I wish I could have gone into a career field and then just kind of worked that career field. And that's sort of what worked for me. Like I look at some other people I know with some degree of envy and go, wow, I wish I didn't have to take the roundabout way that I did.
Yes.
But I collected just this oddball set of experiences that continue to serve me well now.
Yeah.
That I know if I had a more straighter line of a career path, it wouldn't have done that for me. And so I look back with gratitude about it now, but there's a lot of confusion. I'm a ball of a succession of accidents.
Wow.
And again, that's why I say I bumped into people that I feel lucky. Like there's so much about the weird path that I've taken that no one would have planned.
That's amazing. And the serendipity of life sometimes is so amazing that we find ourselves in certain places at certain times. And you're, that ball of succession of accidents and challenging things that have happened that have kind of taken you down that path. And ladies and gentlemen, you get to hear so much more about that in our second hour. It's been awesome to be on this with you so far. We look forward to hearing more about that journey when we come back from this. You're listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket. We'll be back.
Winter is just around the corner. Is your vehicle ready? Don't get left out in the cold. At A1 Automotive, we prep your car for whatever winter throws your way here in Nebraska. For battery checks, to brake inspections, tires, heaters, whatever your car needs to keep you and your family safe on the road, we've got you covered. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes! Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sartor Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sartorheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
It's basketball season, and Salt Mine City is your pregame and postgame headquarters in the Haymarket for craft beers and great food. Get ready for the game with their big, fatty 7-ounce hamburger or try a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. And don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, your basketball headquarters, now open at 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 11 a.m. Friday through Sunday at 8th and R.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
If one of the things running through your mind as a business owner is the recurring worry of possible cyber attacks, you can let out a sigh of relief. Hamilton Business Technologies has you covered. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we offer real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and more to keep your data safe from harm. We care about the success of Nebraska businesses and communities like yours. Learn how we can help you at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between. We'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
Now back to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. You're back. It's the second hour of the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. I have Jason Ball on the show with me today. And man, he's just like, just been exciting, like great energy on here today, talking about a lot of different things. And, just kind of coming out of last hour, these are some of my impressions and my observations. It's just, Jason has really seemed to me like a person who understands that his journey has been a unique one, but at the same time, he's learned so much from the journey that he has been on, and recognizes how important it is to be able to be retrospective and introspective about the things that have shaped him. And, when I hear about his journey from Sydney to Lincoln, and, we're just about to get into his professional career, I just hear him talk a lot about being grateful for the people who poured into him and understanding the importance of community. And what's so awesome about that is that he's now a person that gets to really, as he mentioned, be the mouthpiece for those positive attributes and characteristics of this Lincoln community. And I believe that Lincoln is a very positive place to live and raise a family and have a business. I've done all those things here in Lincoln. And there's just so many great things that are going on here. It's just such a positive place to also be the state's capital. And now that I'm a little bit more involved in the governmental side of things and some of the legislative work that I do through the commission that I'm on, I see how this is truly the convergence. And from spending time at the university and all those things, like this is the convergence of so many different important pieces of decision-making in the day-to-day lives of Nebraskans.
Yeah.
And when you think about how much research and progress is made at the university and how important that is, and you'll talk a little bit about kind of some people who have started out at the university and wanted to create businesses out of that. That is a major part and can be a major part of the engine of a community, where you go from research to the practical side, and then you start to create revenue as a result of that. This is a really important thing. But I've just been struck by how, at this point in your life, you're just like really humble about what you have to do on a day-to-day basis, and humble about how you've gotten to where you are. And you have even said that it is a certain amount of mistakes that happen that put you to where you are, right? And so I just, now we get to hear the rest of that story, as Paul Harvey says, right? So tell us, like, you get through college, you graduate, and what comes after that?
Well, look, I started out talking about Wesleyan, and I'm so grateful for the other experiences that were outside of classroom experiences, or things like communications minor that I ended up picking up. And that is because while I really enjoyed learning the sciences, I had a great experience there, I knew on the day I graduated, I did not want to spend a career in the lab.
Gotcha.
And I did that for a while for a few companies here in Lincoln. I did an internship with Lycor. They're still here in Lincoln.
Yeah.
Moved from that into Bio Nebraska, which was out in the air park. It was a startup. It folded after about a year and a half of me being there. Not because I was there, but just I was there for a year and a half, and then ended up at Reiki Metals, and thankful for all those were all university spin out companies. And so I was there doing chemistry, but what I was actually picking up along the way is how guys like Ruben Reiki, who is was a professor at the UNL Department of Chemistry, came up with a new way to chemically divide up zinc.
Oh, wow.
Which is not a very reactive chemical, in a way that it could do general reactions on organic molecules that allowed new organic molecules to be made that were previously unattainable.
Oh, wow.
And it could sell them to the pharmaceutical industry. And that employed something like 15 to 20 people out there close to Air Park. And, really great experience. I knew it wasn't for me. I was, I had these, I call them my calls for help. I was in the back lab with two amazing, brilliant PhDs from Korea. And I was so, desperate for more things to like think about and do in my day. I was learning Korean. I got to Dora the Explorer level Korean, and you'd come and see my sash and my fume hood, and it'd be covered with, marker on the glass of, the boy has brown hair in Korean.
Wow.
I've forgotten it all now.
Okay.
And so I could probably say hello and count to 10, but that's about it. But it was like clear I needed something else. So, ended up leaving the lab, went to UNL to get an MBA, mostly as a way to get out of the lab.
Uh-huh.
And, completed that and did not know what I was going to do. Got an internship.
Mm-hmm.
That internship was at the Office of Technology Development, which is now New Tech Ventures.
Okay.
And they were managing the portfolio of federally funded research that is generated at the university. And to make a long story short, that's what the 3 companies that I had worked with prior to were founded off of.
I see.
And so I kind of showed up. I had a little bit of industry experience. I had a little bit of exposure to tech transfer and what that meant and looked like, and did an internship there, completed my MBA, kept showing up. They kept paying me after I graduated. And so it was a great deal. And then I was actually working there when, for a while, I was helping businesses write business plans, apply for bank lending through the Small Business Development Center program, NBDC, here in Lincoln. And that's what I was doing when the chamber came and found me. And they said, we want you to come do economic development. I did my best to talk them out of it. I said, you don't want to hire me. I don't know anything about economic development.
Yeah.
And they said, we'll teach you the economic development stuff. But by that time, I knew a lot of the people in the startup community.
Gotcha.
I knew a ton of the bankers in town.
I see.
And I understood the architecture of the university system, which I think to big chunks of the business community is a little bit monolithic and spooky.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I showed up on day one at the chamber, kind of having those types of skill sets that I sort of coached them on.
Yeah.
And then they taught me so much. I worked there under Wendy Birdsall, my predecessor in this role.
Okay, that's right.
And had again another great experience.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it there, and got excited about this industry, so I pursued it in other ways.
That's amazing.
That's 10 years in a nutshell.
10 years, man, you went through that so fast, but I pulled a lot from it. So you're working with these 3 startups early on in your career, and tell me what the energy was like in those spaces where you've kind of taken this concept from the university and you have to try to monetize it, right? Like, what was that energy like? Because, some people have different concepts of startups. A lot of people think Steve Jobs and Wozniak in the garage, right? Like Bill Gates, but these are like scientific startups, right? So it's like lab work. It's like, somebody's experimenting with something and having some other thing go on. And it just, when you talked about the metal thing, the Reiki metal and kind of this zinc process, like you absolutely lost me there, but I thought that was great because I'm sure that was a very proprietary and profitable thing that was happening in that lab. And there were some pharmaceutical companies that were like, you do this for us and send us this, and that's going to help us because we don't have to do it, and you have a quicker way to do it. And
that's
that was
exactly what it was.
The proprietary way of doing it. And so you're packaging things, you're shipping. What was that startup energy like for you as this young guy who, what was that like?
So, it was weird because we talk about startups and we talk about companies built on innovation. And, and we think of tech companies, we think of, Company Cam that just announced a $2 billion valuation.
Oh, wow.
From a startup that was getting on its feet in 2013, 2014. It wasn't an environment like that.
Gotcha.
Right. It wasn't Steve Jobs. It wasn't, tech bros like we talk about now. There wasn't like company t-shirts.
Right.
It was all those environments compared to that.
I see.
Were much more button down type of environments.
Mm-hmm.
And they were big dollar investments by the time I got there. Like startup even is a term that, really should be loosely applied to these. Certainly with Lycor, it wasn't a startup by the time I got there, but it was a Lincoln founded company that is just doing amazing things still. But Bio Nebraska, which was later rebranded to Restorage, and what you learn there is you can show up to work on a random Wednesday and they announce, hey, this team has been great. I think it was like 150 people when they decided they ran out of money.
Oh my goodness.
And, at the time, for me, that was a weird experience because I was like, well, look, I'm single. I wasn't even, didn't even have a girlfriend at the time. And so I was like, wow, well, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All I got to do is worry about me. And worst case scenario, I move into my parents' basement for a while I'm doing that. Right. But I remember being struck because they, pull everybody together and you got people in there with kids and families, and spouses and insurance concerns and all that stuff. And it was so sad and unsettling.
Mhm.
Even watching what I felt like was other people were going through that. I wasn't having to experience that kind of uncertainty.
Yeah.
That shaped me in
Mm.
terms of what I think about today when we're talking about economic development. And,
Yes.
when jobs shut down, it's just so painful. And most of the time people say, I just want my old job back.
Right.
And so that's probably the big thing I took away from that company.
Mhm.
Startups carry risk.
Absolutely.
And we love the ones that succeed as well. We should.
Right. But a lot of them don't.
But sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
And that comes with disruption
Yes.
is what I've characterized it now.
Mhm.
Like sometimes a startup not happening does not mean the end of the world.
Yeah.
Right. And it can turn into other good things. That day, when I lost my job, 65 other people walked right out and jumped into other companies in Lincoln. Like that, those things happen too. And that churn is a painful but sometimes healthy thing in an economy in a bigger scale.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think, it's just difficult to, I think for a lot of people who haven't necessarily had their own business and just seen kind of what that day-to-day looks like and how gritty it is, right? Just kind of this idea of having a task that you have to be really good at. And the fact that the idea that you're good at that task brings money not only to you, but other people and is their livelihoods, and that can all be taken away from you. Last year, about a year ago, when a significant amount of the federal funding started getting pulled from grants and different things like that, and it was just at risk. I don't think people understood how many companies are attached to those federal grants and how, that all kind of is connected. And so, and especially in a city like Lincoln, where there's the university here, and the fact that they've created Innovation Campus and created some of these incubators for these small companies to try to take a few steps forward and then take the leap and everything else, and to have support for that. And, the other thing that you were talking about earlier was just being in that first role where you were working with economic development and the Nebraska Business Development
Center,
NBDC, and just all the opportunities that you saw come through there, people, business plans and everything, getting to really imagine. And I think to me, that was always conceptually the American dream, is having this idea, thinking, you know what, I think this is going to work, and it can work on a larger scale. And then of course you have to create your business plan. And, Jason and I were just talking offline about, nowadays some people will try to take the easy button and just put their business plan into ChatGPT, and it probably won't work, by the way. But back then you had to sit down and do all the research and then write that thing. And then you take it to a banker, right? Who's like, okay, let me look at the number section. Right. And then they look at the number section. And then anyways, I remember a similar experience, and just feeling like, hey, at least I have some control over my destiny. I can put a lot of time and effort into this business plan. I can, go talk to these bankers and hopefully inspire somebody to invest in my organization, my company, whatever the case might be. And it's just, it's kind of a cool thing, And so when you look back on that, what were some of the things that you took from seeing all these people's businesses ideas come past you and helping people with those things and seeing their dreams and knowing that, kind of knowing the banker side of things, you understood all the different pieces of the puzzle of the American dream. What did you learn from that?
Well, that was a fun time because it was really helping people communicate.
Yeah.
Which is something I do today, is help. I feel like we try to help people communicate a lot. Look, coming from some of the experiences I did, like the chemistry startup experiences I had, like those were higher dollar investments. You got to buy complicated equipment. And, even some of the other startups that I was working with through the Office of Technology Development at that time, they were going to need to go out and seek a couple $1 million just to even see if an idea worked. Right? High risk stuff. At the NBDC, what I ran into for the first time were people that were not thinking about business in that way.
Yeah.
And I remember in particular, one gentleman had been sent to me just to get some help articulating some numbers from the bank. He had experience with that, and they're like, he just needs help putting some ideas down on paper. And I'm thinking, well, how are you going to grow to your first 10 people, and what kind of timeline are you on? He's like, whoa. I just want to get my spray-on truck bed lining equipment because I think I can make X $1,000 per every truck that I do a spray-on truck bed.
Gotcha.
And so you got to get back to what are people's goals and desires
Yes.
really about.
Yes.
You know, and the other thing that you do experience, again, it's not the happy story, but it shaped how I think about what businesses mean in communities these days. I remember helping a gentleman who was starting a restaurant,
Mhm.
and the only time he could meet with me for our final wrap up meeting, I'd deliver all the deliverables that I owed him, was on a Sunday. And I said, that's no problem. I'll come in. And he was floored that I would do that.
Oh,
and
wow.
I said, well, you're probably working a few Sundays just to get this off the launch pad. Yeah. And, lost track of him, but come to find out he had started this restaurant and then it didn't work out.
Mhm.
And that always just in the back of my mind, it's just a good reminder of the risk that every business takes on. I think, especially now,
Yeah.
as contentious as things have gotten, both on the right and the left, politically speaking,
Yeah.
and how they think about and look at business. I think we've taken out a lot of the empathy that needs to go in those conversations too.
Yeah.
There is always a person or an individual or a family at the other end of those decisions. And yeah, I get it. Sometimes they seem like big, cold companies making sometimes mean or just dollars and cents type of decisions. But at the end of the day, they have stakeholders to report to. And you know what? Sometimes it is just a person that is wanting to, in their garage,
Yeah.
be able to add spray on truck bed linings to earn a little bit more money for him and his family, so they can have that much better of a lifestyle too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have so much respect for people who have started businesses. That's something I have never done. I'm responsible for a payroll on a team of 26, but I can't say that is my business.
Yeah. I see.
Right. I'm a hired hand at the company that I work for, at the nonprofit that I work for, to make sure that we're moving towards our mission and goals.
Yeah.
But it's a totally different thing to start your own operation. And so I think whether it's a big business or a small business, you're all brave people. We're thrilled you're out there doing that, and the Chamber's being the best advocate we can for you.
That's amazing. And just a great way to, really talk about behind the scenes of these companies, these organizations, these businesses, these ideas, rise or fall. There's somebody's dream back there. And that's one of the things that has always struck me is just, you go into something with great intentions, you want to be successful at it, just like anything else in life. Most of the time when you run into those situations, there's way more work than you would have ever expected. One of the things when I was in the business, I did not realize how difficult it was just kind of like you were saying, payroll, like to do payroll, to do all the taxing stuff, all that, like the state taxes you have to pay, the occupation tax you have to pay here in Lincoln, like all those things. It's like, people wonder, okay, why do you learn some of these things in school, right? Well, if you ever want to run your own business, you have to be decent at math, right? You have to understand what 7% is and take that down to the state building. There's different things you have to do. You have to file your paperwork. You have to get a establishment license. You have to, do all these things. And the biggest thing you have to do, honestly, and you likely have seen this across the entities that you've worked with, is just maintain good, positive relationships with everybody up and down the chain, right?
Yeah.
And you have to work with your landlords. You have to work with your vendors. You have to work with all these people. You have to be a good tenant, like all these things. It's just pretty complicated. And so, that's just one business, right? Like in other businesses, there are other rules and regulations and credentials and things that you have to follow. But behind the scenes and when everything's said and done, I think most people are just doing it so they can do better in life. And that's just the thing, right? It's like, okay, I want to maybe take my family on a vacation here or there, or, try to help somebody else take their family on a vacation. You want to do something positive. You want to give back to the community, and it's never easy. Owning a business, like you have to come down and shovel your walk in this weather, right? Because you don't want someone to slip on the sidewalk and have an insurance claim on your hands. Like there's just all these different pieces. So I agree with you. I do think that one of the unique things about, the United States is this opportunity and a system. And I think, honestly, the system now, there's more of a definition of how to start a business. There's more opportunities, I think, to do some of that economic development. When I was kind of going through the space, there were some different channels that you could take, but a lot of it was about finding, getting credit, and having the ability to get some money from a bank and, do whatever you needed to do with that. nowadays, I think there's other ways. There's the Small Business Association, right?
Mhm.
There's other things that are on more of the city level and everything else. And I love to hear people's business ideas. And, like you said, I mean, starting a business is tough. One of the first things I tell people is, it's just so much more comfortable when someone else is responsible for paying your salary and your paycheck, right? Isn't it? Like someone else, like you could be sick or something and it's going to have an impact on you, but at the same time, someone's still going to make sure you get paid. I remember being in situations where, you had to go to work because you going to work was opening up your business for other people to come to work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a different approach. And so, but it's so neat that you've gotten the chance to see both sides of it.
Mhm.
And now you're really working with organizations and helping them see the true benefits and potential of this community.
Yeah.
And so tell us about you talked about your first job here in Lincoln, but then you left, right?
Yeah.
And you went some other places. So tell us about when's the first time you decided to leave Nebraska?
So I had worked for this organization for about 5 years, and I really did love the work.
Yeah.
I had a direct report who I thought was going to be here for a long time, and probably the successor to Wendy Birdsall, who I mentioned before, was in this role for 16 years, and she was still on the earlier side of that 16 years. And so I thought, well, look, if I want to grow, if I want to do better for my family, and we were expecting our first at the time.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? And started looking around at opportunities and had one come up in Hutchinson, Kansas to run a 10-person chamber. Again, a combined economic development, visitor, and chamber industry type of agency. Had 4 great years doing that. Learned a lot in that job, and then got to do the same thing in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. With a team of 26. And learned a lot from Sioux Falls and how they're organized there, and then ended up in Round Rock, Texas. Round Rock, Texas is the first suburb if you drive north out of Austin proper.
Okay.
You're going to hit that. And the way you got there is the Dell campus of about 13,000 employees is in Round Rock, Texas.
Dell. Okay.
And so the growth of Dell really put Round Rock on the map. And just being part of Central Texas was just it was crazy.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about that right when we come back. You're listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket.
Want to make the easy call? Call John Henry's. From leaky pipes to a broken AC, flickering lights to furnace fights, even drains and duct cleaning, we've got it handled. Plumbing, heating, air, and electrical, all under one trusted roof. Proudly serving homes across Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas, and ready 24/7. Visit calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, take the worm, put it on the hook. Now bring your pole back and throw it forward. And just let the fish come to you.
I got a bite! It's a big one, Dad!
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page, and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
Back Nine Golf in South Lincoln is the premier indoor golf experience in the state. The weather in the winter months is cold, windy, and as unpredictable as a tee shot on the 450-yard par 4. With top-of-the-line full-swing simulators and a PGA teaching professional, Back Nine Golf is there to help you improve your game and lower your score. Back Nine Golf is open to the public with 24/7 access for members. Learn about Back Nine's variety of memberships today and see the facility for yourself at 7501 South 15th Street in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Back Nine Golf, your premier indoor golf and events destination.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine. Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket immediately after every Nebraska men's basketball game for 1 hour of post-game recap. The Nebraska Basketball Postgame Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, and the Lincoln Airport on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Bagels & Joe is the best place to start off your mornings, and you can order your breakfast ahead of time on their app. You can't go wrong with one of their great bagel sandwiches or breakfast burritos. Stop by any of their 4 locations in Lincoln and their location in Seward. Bagels & Joe.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
Now back to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. We're back. You're listening to Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. I have Jason Ball on here with me today, and we're just talking a little bit about everything. So we're talking about, his life, his journey, professionally, personally, everything. And it's just been so awesome to hear about all the different things that he's experienced over the course of his life. I really enjoyed the part about just you talking about business and, this concept behind the importance of having empathy for business owners and business owners of all sizes, right? Because there's people involved in all of it. There's no business without people. That's just the truth. It's like someone's behind the scenes, and running things and trying to, make a better life for themselves and their families and other people's families and so on. And so, you talked to us a little bit about your journey post leaving Lincoln, where you went to Hutchinson, Kansas, and were there for a little bit and had your 2 kids there in Kansas, and then go up to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And how long were you in Sioux Falls?
Sioux Falls was about maybe 2.5 years.
2.5 years. Okay. So you'd already gotten the bug though, and you were on the move. And so
Yeah.
you go down to Round Rock, Texas, and you were
Round
telling us a little bit about Dell headquarters being down there and just kind of being north of Austin. So you're very close to another college town, you know, and everything else. And what was it like being a Nebraska guy down there in enemy territory, you know? just wondering, because, you know, I'm not a big Texas fan, so I don't know if, you know, what was that like?
There were a couple hard moments where I took my son to a couple Texas baseball games, and he started throwing up the horns, and I'm like, put
You're
that
like,
down,
come
son.
on,
Put
You
that down,
we can
son.
be here, but don't
do
embarrass
that.
me.
No, so
that's great.
Look, Texas from an economic standpoint is just going nuts.
Yeah.
And in particular, Austin, Texas, like Central Texas.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to get there.
Yeah.
And it's crazy money. And that comes along with all sorts of great opportunities, good work to do.
Yep.
Very meaningful, at the same time, the traffic congestion, the wage pressures that are going up and yet still, people are putting all that into a house they can barely afford even then.
Yep.
It really has come along with some challenges. So it's sort of the rate of growth of that Central Texas region is just, it's so high. It's coming along with a lot of disruption.
I see.
Along with it. But look, it's a great place. It's full of amazing people.
Mhm.
And the joke that I used to tell is I said, I've always, as a Midwesterner, I have always wanted to be the person who shows up and has a unusual accent somewhere, and I was so excited to be that person in Texas.
Yeah.
And I used to tell a couple jokes about that until I realized everybody in the Austin region, except for like 5 people, is from somewhere else.
They're all transplants, right?
No one was actually from. Very few people were actually from there, and so that it was very metropolitan in that respect, which is not a word I think people associate with Austin very often. But
no.
You get that character of a lot of trade and a lot of, mixed experiences. We lived at that time on the most diverse block we've ever lived on. We knew when some of the Indian religious holidays were happening.
Okay.
And, just had a great experience with our neighbors down there, and it was a fun place. We had a great time.
Yeah.
Probably the only thing that could have gotten us to leave was the opportunity to come back and move closer to grandmas and grandpas and to the city that's done so much for me in my time working.
Oh, that's awesome. And so great experience for you and your family just to be in different spaces. I always think that, moving to a different place and experiencing the culture of that space is so important for young kids, and to be able to make new friends and uproot your family. Sometimes that can be very challenging. I know after the Sioux Falls move, that was probably such a quick one that there was probably some challenges there, right?
Yeah.
Like, are we really leaving again, Dad?
Yeah.
And all the rest of that, and how it stretches us just as adults even, to like leave your connections behind and go somewhere else for a job opportunity. And so you get down there, you're there for a little bit of time, and then it's time to come back to Lincoln. And what was that like to come back to Nebraska after being in Kansas and South Dakota and Texas? What was it like to come back to Nebraska?
Oh, man, it's awesome. Number one is I remember the looks on people's faces in Texas when I said, I'm moving back to Lincoln. And they're like, why in the world would you leave this place?
Yeah.
And I said, well, have you ever been to Lincoln? No.
Yeah.
Well, that's why.
Yeah.
You don't understand how great it is there.
Yeah.
So I was so excited to come back. The other thing is, Round Rock's an amazing place full of great people, but being a suburban chamber is a very different type of work than being a area chamber like we are here in, we talk about Lincoln, but I really view us as about 3 or 4 counties.
I see. Okay.
And as long as those 3 or 4 counties are growing well,
right.
Lincoln Chamber is going to be fine. The city of Lincoln's going to be fine. Like, we're going to see growth.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just amazing to come back. The other thing was, though, is, man, in 9 years I was gone end to end, and so much had changed.
Yeah.
The engineering college was getting built at that time. 17th Street had kind of mostly been erased.
Yes.
The Telegraph District had popped up in ways that I wouldn't have expected.
Yep.
Like everything was great, but it had gotten even more amazing at the same time.
Yeah.
And then Lincoln also had some challenges that I wouldn't have expected either.
Yeah.
COVID still left its mark on downtown, as did some state offices leaving the downtown area.
Yeah.
That pulled out about 1,000 people from downtown every day.
Wow, I did not know that.
That had some impacts on bars and restaurants in downtown.
Absolutely.
And so, we came back to a city that was still so much of what we love, but had its own still unique challenges. And we're still dealing with that. I've been back for 4 years now, and there's still some of those challenges linger.
So you came back in 2022 then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you left in 13, is that right? Around there?
Yeah, right at the beginning of 13.
Okay,
yeah.
Interesting, because that would have been right when the basically PBA was built, around that time frame.
Yeah,
right?
I left Lincoln right when it was getting really cool. I hated doing that.
Yeah,
but, that's what I needed to do.
Yeah, so many changes, and it is interesting because I was in Lincoln that entire time up until about 2019. And then left Lincoln, and of course had my business during that time frame as well. So all the things that you were talking about, I really felt some of those shifts. Having a restaurant downtown and then having so many people leave the downtown, not having that lunch business that I had before was very challenging. Fortunately for me, I sold both of my bars in 2017 and 2018, and so the guys that I work with still very closely and support as kind of a mentor, they had to weather COVID.
Yeah.
And when I saw what happened to the bar and restaurant industry during COVID, and specifically like here in Lincoln, where a lot of things got shut down, I just thought, man, it would have been so upsetting to me for someone to come in and say, you can't open your business today. Yeah. Even if people want to come down here, you can't open your business today. And
at the same time, other business types could.
Yes, exactly.
There were those types of judgment calls going on, and I get, in defense of policymakers at that time, I get the things that were on their minds, but again, having empathy for business owners that have put so much of their personal dreams, hopes, stakes, and finances at life,
right?
To say, hey, you over there can't be open, but you can, is just not a healthy thing.
Not at all. Not at all. And so that was a very difficult time to work through and figuring some things out and watching some of the new businesses that launched as a result of COVID.
Yeah.
That was also interesting, right? Like, I mean, who had stock in Zoom, right? Like some of these things, and then all of a sudden you can, and this is kind of, just a bit of a challenge for me, but all of a sudden now you can purchase alcohol from a place and take it home with you, right? Like in
a drive-through,
exactly,
in a
right?
Styrofoam cup.
Yes,
I remember going, are we serious about this?
Things just really went off the rails in so many different ways. And again, they were just trying to make things work. I understand. But it was just an odd time. And to be, in Omaha and seeing some of those things happen in Lincoln, and have a totally different situation up in Omaha, right?
Yeah.
It was just interesting. So, but anyways, so you come back to Lincoln in 2022, and when you get back, what are some of the things that you're just extremely excited about? Because I can remember 2022 a bit because I was working in athletics at the time, and there was a lot of things on the horizon. I know we were talking about the big modernization of the stadium, and the university was, it was just a different time if you kind of look at what's happening now compared to some of those different spaces. So what were you excited to come back to when you got back to Lincoln?
Well, look, I was excited to come back and work with a economy that has the university at the center of it.
Yeah.
That really does make a difference. Having done this work in Sioux Falls, I can tell you that economy is different. And I think it looks a little bit wistfully at other communities like Lincoln that have a university at the core of what they're doing.
Yeah.
So that was kind of number one. Number two is just coming back to a organization that holistically, through economic development, tourism, and the visitor industry and chamber proper, represented an entire geography. It makes the work for me, for what I want for my career, it makes the work more rewarding.
I see.
Right. Yeah. And so the work that we're doing on like big infrastructure projects like East Beltway, right. That's something I think only the chamber here can do.
I see.
In doing the components of it that we're trying to lead.
Yep.
Same thing with even the quarter-cent sales tax for streets and roads. And
Mm-hmm.
No one loves streets and roads as much as me, so I'll stop there. But look, convention center.
Yeah.
Very live conversation, very
Yes.
difficult multivariable calculus, trying to figure out how are we going to get this thing to happen even now.
Yeah.
And that's work that the chamber and the business community really has to lead. I would argue for it to be successful.
Yeah.
And so those were the types of things I was really excited about.
Yeah.
Other things that have become really exciting that have surprised me that I would not have guessed are some of the work that we're doing in like childcare.
Yes.
Where the chamber doesn't lead in childcare. We don't run childcares. We don't tell childcares what policies they should have. That's not our place.
Mm-hmm.
But the childcare shortage is a issue for business because it's an issue for their workforce teams.
Absolutely.
And so we needed to become involved. It's been a great partnership with Lincoln Littles and so many others, and like companies like TMCO that are leading on that, or Huddle with their relationship with Primrose, for example.
Yes.
I could go on and on. Like that's work that has become real rewarding that I think when it started out, for me at least, very uncomfortable because that's not our space. That's not where we lead. And that's where we need great partnerships. So I'm glad we have good partnerships to lean on.
That's amazing. And it's awesome to hear you talk about, all those different pieces and how they fit together because, not many people get so excited about roads, but roads are an incredibly important part of a community when it comes to transportation, when it comes to the ease with which you can move through a space. That was definitely one of the challenges that, I experienced here in Lincoln when I lived here, was coming from the south side to downtown. And it's like 4 miles, but it takes you like 25 minutes. Right. Yeah. And then, you're going through potholes and different things people, those are those little nagging things. Childcare, not such a small thing. Everybody has to worry about that at some point in their life and their career if they have to continue working while having kids and everything. And so it's awesome to hear that you all are playing a role, or at least trying to support the organizations who do that well, to make sure that good, positive, healthy childcare is available for people who come to Lincoln. Because again, these are these quality of life things that, people may not necessarily think of all the time, but somebody's thinking of it all the time. Right.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing to hear. And then the convention center, that would be so amazing. That is going to be so amazing when it happens here. I know it will, right?
Yeah.
It's going to happen, but it's just going to be a great draw for Lincoln. I think this is a wonderful place to have conventions and bring people in because it's such a beautiful community. And so it'll be really neat to see that whole thing come together as well. So what would you say are, and we'll probably finish up with this, but just be thinking about some things that are on the horizon that are going to be really special to this Lincoln community? What are some things that you're really excited about?
Yeah. So, and I hate to repeat previous answers, but number 1, 2, and 3 for me is infrastructure.
Yes.
We're working on things like I mentioned East Beltway. We're going to have Project O Street kicking off here later this year. And we're still going to pursue Water 2.0, second source of water for the city. Like those are things that are going to be so foundational. We're going to see some more business park development that's going to be along the South Beltway, which I'm very excited to see. We've got a plan for some infrastructure coming in there that is going to help. At the state level, a lot of the policy work is going to center around how important is economic growth to us or not. We've got a real issue where I think there are just other priorities that are taking up the oxygen in the room. And I don't want to say that those are bad priorities or bad issues to focus on, but gosh darn it, the state and this city cannot walk away from prioritizing economic growth, because if we do, those people and families and other impacted businesses that we've been talking about so much, they are going to have negative consequences because of a shrinking economy.
There's just so many other things to talk about there. Man, just scratching the surface on that one. I appreciate.
What are we doing in the third hour?
Yeah,
Dr.
exactly.
Chatters?
Right. So, but anyways, you're listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. I have Jason Ball in here, and we're gonna bring this thing home when we come back on 93.7 The Ticket.
Want to make the easy call? Call John Henry's. From leaky pipes to a broken AC, flickering lights to furnace fights, even drains and duct cleaning, we've got it handled. Plumbing, heating, air, and electrical, all under one trusted roof. Proudly serving homes across Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas, and ready 24/7. Visit calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing.
And electrical.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, take the worm, put it on the hook. Now bring your pole back and throw it forward. And just let the fish come to you.
I got a bite! I got a bite! It's a big one, Dad!
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page, and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
Back Nine Golf in South Lincoln is the premier indoor golf experience in the state. The weather in the winter months is cold, windy, and as unpredictable as a tee shot on the 450-yard par 4. With top-of-the-line full-swing simulators and a PGA teaching professional, Back Nine Golf is there to help you improve your game and lower your score. Back Nine Golf is open to the public with 24/7 access for members. Learn about Back Nine's variety of memberships today and see the facility for yourself at 7501 South 15th Street in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Back Nine Golf, your premier indoor golf and events destination.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Now back to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. We're back. We're finishing up. It's the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters, and I've had the absolute joy of speaking with Jason Ball today. And, you know, Jason, just hearing your story and just all the things that you're currently working on with your staff and all the things that you're excited about, and understanding the importance of having people that have the vision to continue moving things forward. Yeah. You know, it's something that's always impressed me. And that is, as I grew up and I tried to better understand the world, I didn't realize how important it was until I got later on in life to plan and to have a plan and to execute that plan in order to be successful. So when I see that there are people who are worried about, you know, what's going to happen in Lincoln in 2050, right? What's going to happen in Lincoln like 10, 15 years from now? And you all are planning that, and you're starting to plot out the city and where the city will expand and all these different types of things. I never, when I was younger, understood how important that was. And that's kind of goes back to that conversation you and I were having earlier about, you know, you knowing that you could be good at something, but it was going to take you extra time to sit down and work through it and plan it out, right? Mm-hmm. And to know that there are people behind the scenes that are doing that for the city and ultimately for the success of the state. Because I think when either Nebraska, Omaha, or Lincoln win, we all win to an extent, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so, that's really the way that I see that. It's so amazing to hear about all these great things that are happening, and that there's coordination
Mhm.
and there's a vision for a more positive future for this city and this state. I mean, you've really sold me on Lincoln today in a
Hey.
way, and I might have to think about moving back here.
That's look, if we can pick up you and your wife coming back to town, that's going to be the biggest success of the chamber
man.
today.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's been awesome to talk to you today. When you think about just what you'd want your legacy to be, when you think about, because here's the deal. Like, I can tell you Wendy's name, like, really resonates through time with all the things that she was committed to and all the work she did. When people say, and they talk about the Jason Ball era, right? Which sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
What kind of things are they going to be saying happened in Lincoln, and what would you want your legacy to be in that respective space?
Well, if I can respectfully suggest, I want to reframe this question a little bit,
Okay.
because one of my pet peeves is when people do get to a place in their career where they're thinking about their legacy.
Okay.
It changes their decision making.
That's right. It
And
does.
I get real worked up about that. so I would say I hope that people don't think of a Jason Ball era, but I do hope that when we get to 2050,
yes,
this community will look back and say it grew at the pace that the economy wanted to go. It grew in a way that served all its citizens. It grew in a way that excited people about what it meant to be a Lincolnite.
Yes. That's good.
That it grew the voice and influence of Lincoln as a political entity at the state house, and Lincoln got to be maybe a little bit more influential about the things that were important to it on a statewide level. Those are the things that I hope that if folks turn around, a few years from now, they get to say. The one exception to the legacy thing that I will say that I have owned in other public comments is,
yes,
I'm 48. I got, give or take 20-ish years left in this job if I'm successful at it, if I earn that right to do it every day, right?
Yeah.
And gosh darn it, I hope by the end of that 20 years that we're looking at an East Beltway loop complete, or for Lincoln Loop completion.
Yeah.
I want to be able to circumnavigate the city without having to stop at a stoplight.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really, really great thing to go out on, and I know that it would really serve this economy well.
Wow, that's amazing. And when I think about that, what you just said, and just how much time, effort, and money is going to have to go into that project, I realize that would be a major part of your legacy, because when people have no idea how much time, effort, and coordination and money it takes to do these major projects like that, hundreds of millions of dollars and people hours and planning and all the rest of it. And what I can tell you is, from going on what's already been done to this point, which I don't know exactly what part, but to tell you that going around that south side of town now and being able to kind of cut across there and everything else, and seeing some of the other projects that have happened from an infrastructure perspective in my lifetime, like driving from Omaha to West Point, Nebraska, where my wife is from, and having a 4-lane versus a 2-lane now. That is major. It cuts back on the time that it takes you to get to family, all the things that are behind this stuff, like more time to spend with your family, more time, an easier way, less accidents. Like, all these things are so important for the quality of life.
Takes pressure off of county roads. Takes pressures
Absolutely.
off of other smaller streets and roads in the area, and that helps farm to market transitions. Like, there's something in the East Beltway project for quite literally everybody to like.
That's
gonna
awesome.
Be good. It's gonna
That's
be good.
awesome. And you never really think of a project that way, but when people get the opportunity to use it and they're just moving with ease throughout the city and everything else, and I mean, it's just, then that's when it makes all the difference. So, I've just heard so much from you today, Jason, about just the importance of people pouring into you, about all these things that happen over the course of your life that were absolute accidents, but they were not accidental. It was just neat to listen to your story and know that you are really at the helm of coordinating the efforts and helping people see what is so amazing about this city. So, we'll call it the Ball Beltway, eventually. I know that's super embarrassing, but
look, if Senator Fisher can get me $500 million, I've promised it's going to be the Fisher Beltway.
Hey, listen, we could call it the Fisher Beltway. that's possible. She's, very powerful and has a lot of influence. And so, but, it's just been so awesome to spend some time with you today and talk with you. Just finishing out, are there any people that, you want to send a shout out to that, are meaningful in your life now or who have meant a lot to you over the course of your life?
If I can, I just want to thank my team at the Chamber of Commerce. I wish I could just read off all 26 of their names, but they know who they are if they hear this. And man, I'm telling you, it is an honor for me to walk in that building every day and to just get to be involved in the work that they are doing. I described myself at the beginning of this conversation as a mouthpiece, and that's really what I am. I do a lot of yapping. They're on the front lines actually getting it done. And so your team at the Chamber and the Partnership for Economic Development and Visit Lincoln are really doing great things here. And I hope people are excited about that work.
That's so awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Jason Ball today. And, his story is not an accidental story. He's had a lot of great intentional things that have happened. And he's brought a lot of happiness to a lot of people through the things that he's done. And just seems like an all-around great person. So thank you for being on the Law of Lift. And as I always say to you all, I hope if you're going through challenges and experiencing adversity, I hope you can lift off. Hope you've enjoyed the show today. You've been listening to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.